Those are super important. Sleep, food, phone, stress management, relaxation. This is where the players are built. Talent is only the entry point, but energy will keep you on the floor. Either even if you are on the floor or if you are on the bench, keep that energy high. For the parents, I would say, remember that one line: I love watching you play. That is it. This podcast is for youth basketball players, their parents, and the coaches who develop them. In every episode, we cover topics that determine your success. We talk basketball, body, and mind. I am Stan, strength and conditioning coach and physiotherapist, working with youth basketball athletes around the world. If you are serious about your development and you want to succeed in basketball, this podcast is for you. Let's get it. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Basketball, Body, and Mind. Today, as always, we have another special episode, but why it is special this time? Because I am doing a recap out of the last 9 episodes, and 9 episodes, I'm not talking about my solo episodes, but 9 episodes of when I had a talk with other guests. So as you remember, we had a Los Angeles Lakers strength coach. We had a private coach who worked also in NBA and who has worked in EuroLeague. We had professional basketball player who's playing in Greece right now. Like, we had many people. I'm not even mentioning some of the top trainers in the USA that we have talked, but like, it's lots of information, like head coaches, like I'm like looking at the notes. I'm super happy that I got to talk to that many interesting people. And so that information would not get lost. With the help of AI, I took 9 things that I believe are the most important things to remember from those episodes. And how do I define important? Is that insight, that thing needed to repeat again. Like, if somebody mentions, let's say if basketball player mentioned that, then I know that like maybe head coach mentioned that also, maybe then somebody else mentioned that also. So then is an insight, because people who are not connected, I mean, they're all basketball related people, but they're talking about the same thing, and of course they have not kind of agreed to talk about that, but that's the reason it's important, and that's the reason why they are mentioning those things. So let's get right into those insights. And insight number 1 is that 23 hours matter more than that 1 hour. So what does it mean that 1 hour? Like, maybe it's more, but you're training like 1 or 2 hours a day, maybe 3 hours a day, but then rest like 21 to 23 hours a day is super important. Super important. And Tim DiFrancesco, Bo Dimascalc, Luca Sviller, they were all talking about these things. And of course, like, and I have mentioned it myself in the solo episodes about sleep, about the food, but like sleep, food, they are super, super important. And before that, actually, if you have listened about the recovery, the episode where you can find the show notes, the link to that in the show notes, I was talking also about the psychological well-being, stress management, and relaxation. So definitely listen what those terms mean and how to work on that, because I believe it goes together with a sleep as like importance. Because if you are super stressed, no matter how well you ate, no matter how well you slept, you will feel off. So that's why I believe it is important. And in other side of the coin, let's say, why I believe it is super important, because we all focus about the training. We all focus about training for basketball. We all focus training the body, but in order to be good at basketball, or to be good at your body, even like to be good at your mind, you need to be like sleeping well consistently. You need to be feeding your body well, because you are made of what you eat. So that is very important. And also, what they were talking about, and we talked a lot with Tim DiFrancesco about the phone addiction. And I have the challenge that, like, you need to check your screen time. And if you are spending more time on the screen rather than playing, your future is clear. And I'm not talking just like, okay, if you're making a call or if you're studying YouTube video, how to play better defense, let's say. So then, of course, it doesn't count. But look at the apps that you're using most often. And those would be ones that I would add up and count, like Snapchat, Instagram, TikTok. And I always come back to this kind of story that I was watching one basketball game, like a youth level. And one of my clients also showed up to the same gym, and he just sat down next to me, and we were talking. And he said, "Yeah, like yesterday, I didn't have time to do the training session." And I said, "Do you mind if I will check your phone?" He's like, "No, it's fine." I said, "Open your phone and check your screen time." And he started to laugh, and he opened, and he had 4 hours of TikTok on his phone last day. He said, "Seriously?" And we just laughed, and I said, like, "It's all good. I'm not judging you. I just want you to be aware of where you're spending your most of the time, because if you say that you don't have, maybe you're right, because you're feeling that you don't have time. But then you look at your screen and like, oh my God, 3 hours? That's a lot. That's a lot." So, of course, last thing, talking about the recovery, also, regardless of the level, regardless of the age, at least 1 day per week should be completely off, resting. Do whatever you want. No strength and conditioning, no basketball, nothing basketball related. I mean, if you want to stretch, of course stretch. If you want to foam roll, definitely do that. If you want to go for a walk, go and do that walking. Be in the nature. So these are the things that I really believe that the insight number 1 is one of the most important. And I mean, every insight will be important, because when I was going through the episodes, I'm like, there are so many things that I would like to continue talking. But let's go with the insight number 2. And in order to earn minutes on the court, you need to go with the energy and defense. So this thing, again, George Dedas, Tim DiFrancesco, Lucas Filler, they all were talking about Mihai Raducanu. They all were saying about the energy and defense. And you have to understand, like, if you are young and you are entering the, let's say, pro league, you're entering the pro level, you cannot expect to be offensive player, but you can really be good at defense. And many people, coaches, players, veteran players, everyone will appreciate you being defensive player. You can score 0, but be really good on defense, and you will be amazed how much of the offensive opportunities later it will create for you. But definitely start with defense if you want to earn more minutes. And if you cannot play defense because you're sitting on the bench, go up with the energy. I think George Deda said that how he said something like that, like energy, you can compensate your lack of some of the skills that you're lacking right now at that age because you're entering the pro level. He said that you can compensate with the energy, and energy on the bench, that you are shouting, you are supporting the team, but also energy on the court, hustle, like run, sprint, not run, sprint to the offense, sprint to the defense. Like, you don't require any skill that you would not have to, because you are already at that level, so you can run. So you don't require any skill just to sprint. You definitely can do that. And if you are sprinting on defense, that's even better. Maybe some veteran player was a little bit late and he cannot go so fast on the defense, but you are the young one and you are sprinting as fast as you can, and you kind of foul the player, or you on the offense, or you kind of try to steal the ball, or maybe you block the shot. Imagine how good the veteran player will feel that you kind of hustled instead of him, and you saved the team from 2 points or 3 points. So again, this is defense. So you definitely need to have this skill in your bag, not another kind of crossover skill, but this skill. And you don't need any talent for this, just energy and defense. And some things that, because the player, he's playing in Czech Republic, he was playing in the highest league, now he's playing in second league. And I was telling to him, like, you have to practice defense. And how you can do that is whenever you're playing one-on-one, ask, like, can I defend like 20 times in a row? And then you go one time, you play on the offense, and again you play 20 times in a row of defense. So that could be one. Now I'm talking more about the defense one-on-one, not 5-on-5 tactical defense. But like, you just need to practice more of defense. If you will see that like physical tools are the limiting factor, such as like speed and the first step and so on, you would need to, like, again, I will simplify as much as I can, so you get to it can be many things what influence that physical part of you not being able to make the first step and be strong and so on. But like, if you want to work on defense, usually it will be more hip dominant and lateral speed or lateral type of movement. So hip dominant, like a deadlift, single leg hip thrust, hip lift variation, hamstring curls, and if we're talking about, as I said, like lateral speed, so like any kind of like a lateral jumps, bounds, band resisted things, diagonal bounds, all of these exercises. But any single leg exercise will give you more like kind of benefits to work to improve your defense. And another thing, I don't remember with who exactly I was telling this, that I would make kind of mandatory for myself. If I was a young player coming up and I would like to earn more minutes, I would make mandatory for myself to full core press every single time, like in the practices, and then definitely in the games. If I would get time, any minutes to play, I would pick up the player from the first meter. And of course they will cross you and you will kind of lose. Maybe you will fall and everyone will be laughing, but who cares? You get minutes to play. That's the most important things. And those who are standing in the stands and like, oh, look at this, look at that, like, who cares? If you care about those people who are too afraid, or it can be afraid, or maybe they are not consistent, or they're not consistent enough, or they're not willing to give their all effort into achieving their goals, who cares about those people? We care only about you achieving your goal. Your goal is to go pro. So if you care about those who cannot go pro, who are afraid, as I said, to take those steps, like, you are not able to go pro, because the higher the level, like new level, new devil. So what does this mean? Like, the higher you go, the more spectators will be, the more cameras will be. And if you will afraid to kind of fail meaning like do something stupid, acting a fool. So if you will be afraid to get into those failures, you will not succeed. find a way, be strong enough, focus on yourself, be strong enough to kind of overcome these things, and focus on yourself, on your goal, have that bigger goal in mind. Okay, I'm just went a little bit on the rant, but like, pick up full core defense, and on the training sessions you will be training yourself, you will be training the defense, you will show to the coach that, hey, I am capable of doing full core press. So whenever you need somebody to defend, let's say to make the opponent's point guard or whichever player tired, I'm here. You know that you can count on me. You saw how many times I did full court press. Like, I always give my best. And the funny thing is, the more you do, the better you get. So the more full court press you will do, not only the defense will improve, but overall conditioning, your skill recognition, you will know where the opponent will go, because your body subconsciously or automatically will know what the opponent will do. So you will just get better and better and better, and like, finally, like, you're just playing because you're a great defender. And everyone just, you need to be on the team just because you are a great defender. And guess what? You get more minutes. You get more also scoring opportunities, but you do not care about that right now because you're young. You're just working on the defense. That was your focus. Yes, I think like episode 15 or something, like Laimonas Heglinskas, he was talking about one player. I forgot who he was, but he was saying that at the young age, he said, I will be the best defender. I will be defending everyone so well, and I will be the best in Europe. And he's playing in EuroLeague right now. So box out every rebound, like, work on these defensive type of activities, and you will definitely get your chance. But start with defense and energy. Insight number 3 is that opportunities will come without any warning. It will not be like knocking on the door and like saying, hey Stan, would you like to come maybe to play with us in a month or in 2 weeks? Yeah, let us know. No, it will be like this. Yo, you come today to the practice. And it's like maybe like men's, or maybe it's an A team, and you need to be ready. If you're not ready by like when you will get there, you will realize like, OMG, I wanted to swear a little bit, but I'll say OMG, like, I'm not ready for this level. And whose fault is that? Maybe you can say it's coaches, but like, again, remember the Jocko Willink Extreme Ownership book. It's only on you. It's your fault that you are not ready. It's only your fault. You should have been ready. You should have trained harder. You should have trained smarter. You should have trained more, or maybe rested more, but you should have been ready, because you have been thinking that I would like to go there, or I think that I am ready, and I think like when I will get there, I will show everyone. You should be ready. Or let's say you are a young player who is not getting minutes, and you are complaining, either like 15 or 19, you're not getting minutes. It's the same issue. You have to do the same things, and come back to insight number 2, energy and defense. But even if you're not training, you have to keep on working. Like George Deda said when he was in college in Greece, for 2 years he barely got any minutes, but he kept on training body, kept on training skills. It's very good for him because he had people around him, coaches, to motivate and to push him. If you don't have them, yeah, I'm sorry, but this is your situation. I mean, if you need the strength and conditioning coach, just tell me, I'll help you. But in general, like, what will you do? Like, there's no, like, we cannot do anything. We can either find a way to train, or we can quit. And we can say, yeah, I cannot do this because I don't have people around me. How bad do you want? If you're not playing, find a way to get better. Find a way. Because opportunities, as like it says, like will come without warning. What if the player will get injured, or someone in the national team will get injured, or a coach needs a defensive player because you are great at defense, he saw. So they will just call you and say, hey, come to the practice today. Usually it's like today or tomorrow. But yeah, like you need to be ready. Find a way, either yourself or to the coach. If you don't know, actually, it will be one of the things that I will be talking later. So maybe I'll not mention right now. Insight number 4 is maybe a little bit more for the coaches and parents, but you need to do multi-sport until you're like 14 or 16 years old. I would go like up to 16 years old. Of course, it's going to be super difficult because you are going to face some challenges, because maybe your team is training 5 times a week and coach wants you to be there 5 times a week. Oh, that's a difficult question, because you would need to find a way to minimum until 14 years old to do multiple sports. And it would be best if you would not play basketball when you were like 7, 8, 9 years old, that you would do some other sports. Football is the one that I see very often. Somebody who's good at football, like soccer, they have really good footwork later, like a football coordination, like we have a handball coordination, but in football it's like a football coordination is really good. So that footwork, when the person like does like a crossovers and so on, like where they step with the feet, it's really good. So even like Alvaro Cardenas, episode 21 or 22, Spain national team player, at age 20 whatever, 4, 3, I don't know exactly how old is he. He's really good at football. And when we were working together, like I could not come up with a basketball drill that he would like a dribbling drill that he would not be able to do. Like any kind of like a tennis ball drill, 2 ball handling, dribbling, and doing some like wall drills and agility ladders plus basketballs, anything. Like at first he would be like, okay, that's difficult, but like within a minute, like no, not even a minute, like 30 seconds, and he's like, I got it. And I was amazed. He was one of the only probably person that was able to do whatever I asked. So but he has done multiple sports. As you can listen to the podcast, he is explaining his journey and how competitive he is, but it's not about competitiveness right now. Bodi Mascal, Tim DiFrancesco, Chris Ryan, episode 29, they are all talking about that. And we need to find a way to incorporate other sports. And it's good for the injury risk of reduction type of kind of side, let's say, because when you play basketball, you are repeating certain movements, and usually it's certain angles, because you're only training one way. And you might not maybe notice, but I mean, of course, but like you will be stopping more with one side. You will be turning more to one side. Of course, you will be shooting mostly with one hand. Like everything is like one side dominant. But if you go, let's say, from basketball to football to track and field, if you go to other sports, you will do different movements. You will be using different angles. Your body will be exposed to different environments and situations. So hopefully the processing speed, like a nervous system speed, will be faster. You will be able to decide what is the good, let's say, decision and what is the right movement to do in that situation faster. And with the injury risk of reduction is that when you are doing same movements, same angles over and over, year after year, they get just too much of stress. So the idea behind is that you do different movements and different degrees, so that, let's say, let's call it joint angles and those parts of the muscles and tendons and ligaments, they will be resting a little bit from those angles that you usually do. I mean, I'm not like now I'm listening to myself and thinking how I am saying everything, and I'm saying really to the language of like 6th or 8th grader could understand. So sometimes I maybe simplify a little bit too much, but my idea is like I have the filter. I have been working and studying. Now I'm studying physiotherapy, about to finish, but doing this around 12 maybe years. So I have a quite good filter to kind of separate. It's 15 years. So I have a good filter. So because you maybe don't have that filter, so you're using me as a filter, that information, which is useless and which is more important. So as I said, do multi-sport until age of 16 if possible, if not until age of 14. Insight number 5, it's that you need to master your body weight before chasing any strength numbers. And when we are saying about master your body weight, I am talking more about youth levels and like mastering body weight, because we don't need weights. I mean, I would use weights even like with someone who is 6 years old. And now you should be asking, what? How? Why? Aren't you afraid? But I would use weights for the different reason. I would give him or her like a 1 kilogram dumbbell or like a medicine ball or something, let's say. Like not always, but sometimes I would just use like an implement. So he or she could play around with that implement or do the movements, and while holding, they'll say the dumbbell or that medicine ball overhead, or like just doing different movements. But I would not be chasing the numbers. Like if you did with 2, if you did with 1, go with 2. If you did with 2 kilograms, go with 3, and so on. No, I would just let him play around with that new kind of equipment, because this is how we learn. And Luca was talking that he would go with the calisthenics. Bo said that he teaches squats, lunges, hinges, like a deadlift movement at the 13 and 14, because the kids, they cannot control their own like a body, and no amount of strength training will kind of strength training, I'm meaning like adding extra more and more load, will improve that. They need to expose themselves to different environments, different equipment, different kind of surfaces. This is the idea behind. And I was telling in one of the episodes, like, imagine that you, this is for, I'll just use for the kids. Imagine that you're always use like a one phone, and then you get a tablet next time, like a little bit bigger phone, and what you're used to type or how you used to type, it was easy for you. But now you need to type the same thing, but the tablet is bigger, and it's going to be much more difficult for you. Same with the kid. You are growing, you are changing. So whatever was easy for you, like catching a ball, throwing a ball, doing a push-up or lunge, was easy for you because you were used to do at a certain height, at a certain, range of motion. But you grew. You grew, some people grew like 10 centimeter, like 4 inches in a summer. So definitely all the same things that were easy for you before will be difficult right now. So we need to expose to different environments, as I said, just to learn how to master that kind of body weight. Why, for example, sometimes I would not use body weight if the person is super weak. In that circumstance, but if you are doing sports, so probably you would not be in that category. But in some cases, if the person is very, very weak, I probably would go with some little bit of weights, because we could raise the strength level a little bit more up, even though he has zero experience. And then we could go to the body weight exercises. And then from those body weight exercises, we could again go back to the strength and so on. So in some cases, I believe that doing a little bit of machines or a little bit of weights could be even beneficial, even the person has zero experience in the weight room. So what could be the exercises? I mentioned a few, but like a body weight exercise, like a body weight squat, just regular squat. If it's easy, grab a backpack, put it on the front of your shoulders, or go with the tempo, like 3 seconds down, 3 seconds up, or stand in like a split stance position. You can go the next exercise like a single leg deadlift. You can go push-ups. Definitely include some pull-ups, and then after all of these are mastered, like lunges, step-ups, I mean, lots of exercises. But then when you master those and you are good, take an implement, take a basketball, take a medicine ball, take a light dumbbell, take a band, whatever. Just play around and train that way. And later you will be able to add a little bit of strength. Insight number 6, super important, is deceleration and landing is where careers are saved. And why saved? Because not always, like Achilles ruptures will usually happen more on the acceleration, but ankle sprains, knee injuries, very often, like mostly, it will happen in decelerations and landings. We need to find a way for our muscles to fire fast, and in deceleration they really need to react fast. Like when you are landing on, let's say, from the box on single leg, you need to have a great timing of your glutes, of your quads, hamstrings, tibialis anterior, all these muscles, or like when changing direction, all these muscles, they need to fire fast. And then they need to kind of rebound, because after you decelerate, maybe you re-accelerate. So it's super important. And Chris Ryan made a point that a tall athlete usually can jump like a much higher, but when they need to stick the landing, it's difficult. It's difficult. So like we were talking, that one of the ways to measure your deceleration could be just doing a long jump, like a broad jump, and of 2 legs, starting of 2 legs, and you just jump as far as you can, but you see if you can decelerate from the distance that you jumped. So for example, if I'm standing on 2 legs and I jumped forward 2 meters, but I cannot decelerate, I cannot nicely stick the landing on 2 legs, my acceleration is like on a, let's call it, better than deceleration. I need to work on deceleration. So then maybe I do 180, not so big jump, but then my landing is perfect. So I'm thinking, okay, I need to work more on the deceleration. And deceleration could be exercises such as you would be stepping off the box, start with a smaller box, or you stepping with a lunge, like making a lunge forward or lunge to the side. You can attach the band that would be pulling you forward while you're making a forward lunge, or pulling you to the side while you are stepping to the side. It can be making any kind of jumps, either forward, vertical, or lateral, and you are sticking the landing. Or you can do, sometimes we do in the online training, that we do, let's say, 3 jumps or 5 jumps in a row, let's say vertical jumps, and on the last one, I want you to stick the landing. So I want to see that you're not only able to do 5 jumps in a row, but you still have a great control. And after last jump, you stick the landing. I took this from the one coach called Mike Boyle, and I'm using it until this day. Last jump, stick the landing. Show me that you're able to control. So as I said previously, most of those knees and ankle sprains, but knee injuries like ACLs, they will be usually in the deceleration or landing phases that they happen, and it's super common. Unfortunately, currently I have two people online working with the ACL injuries, but yes, like sometimes we cannot prevent that because it's a contact injury, as a basketball is a contact sport. So some things we are not able to kind of minimize the risk. But if it was non-contact, if you sprained your ankle on kind of just changing direction, if you tore your ACL or some other, let's say, ligament without contact, just making a step, maybe, and more likely yes than no, but maybe you could have prevented that with a great training program and consistent training program that would involve deceleration and landing skills. Insight number 7 is what I said that I will mention about that later, that the player who asks questions, they will be pulled ahead. And what do I mean with that? It's not only me who agrees with that, but like Luka Sviller was saying, Mihai was saying about that, George Dedas was talking about that, that not asking for a help, this is Luka said, not asking for a help is the biggest mistake young players can make. And Mihai said that the truth fears no questions. So what is important, that we coaches, we really want you to succeed. We want you to succeed very much. Sometimes I even think that we coaches want you to succeed even more than yourself. But why could it be? Because maybe like we have seen players who have succeeded and we know what those players can achieve, and we see someone similar that they definitely have a chance and they're great and we really want them to succeed, but this is the first time for you. You have never succeeded, you have never done this thing, so probably that's why we want more for you than sometimes than you want for yourself. But after the training session, like, go to the strength coach, or whenever you have time to talk to the strength coach, and ask, how can I improve my left hand? What could I do, to make it more coordinated? Maybe he will ask some questions, or you can say, hey, how can I be more kind of being able to play lower? Be more strong, or be stronger on the lower position. Sometimes I feel like everyone is pushing me out and out of balance, and I'm not able to do that, like finish, let's say, with a contact, like whatever the question is. Or you can go to the assistant coach or head coach, depending on the level you're playing, and like ask, like, hey, I really want to improve my, I don't know, defense. Of course, defense, because that's what we're starting from. But maybe I want to improve my skills. I want to improve my shooting. I want to improve my shooting percentage, shooting technique, whatever. When you ask question, coach will be, okay, interesting. I want to help this kid more because he is looking for information. He's looking the ways to kind of improve. And it's easier for us to coach, for coaches to work when we know that the person is willing to take that advice, and it's easier to motivate. Like, we don't have to kind of push the player to do something. Player comes by himself. So we're happier. We are happy to help and to improve and to help that player to get what you really, really want. So that would be probably getting more minutes, being better basketball player, earning more minutes, playing at a higher level, and so on. So encourage. If you're a parent, encourage your kids to ask more questions. And if you are a kid, I encourage you, ask more questions. Ask. This is how you will find the really real your potential. This is what I would say. And in order to kind of find your real potential, you will definitely have some failures. And we talked failures a little bit before, but insight number 8 is invite failure. Do not fear it. And Tim DiFrancesco, Alvaro Cardenas, Mihai Raducanu, they all were talking about this. Amazing episodes. And the kid who is willing to look bad, as I said, in practices, is the one who will get good in the games. That's the truth. Like, the more you miss, the more you will make. The more shots you will miss, the more you will make. Do you understand that? The more kind of mistakes, failures you will get, you will kind of, I'll say, achieve. Not even using quotes, but the more failures you will achieve, the better you will get. Like the kid who is learning to how to walk. Like they felt like they fall down, they stand up, they fall down, they stand up. And at some point, they're just falling less and less and less. Then they start to run, they're falling less and less. I mean, they still fall sometimes, but it's less and less. And then eventually, like, we get older, well, a few years later, like the kid is doing everything, even jumping and not falling. So that's same for you. With whatever skill you decide to start improving, shooting, defense, offense, whatever you decide, but do not be afraid. And Tim said that the Kobe had no fear of missing. He was expecting that it will happen. And Alvaro had a rule that he said, I'm not negotiating with myself before the shot. Like, just do. You have done thousands of shots, hopefully, in the game, in the practice. So you definitely have a right. You have a right to make that shot. But as I said, start with defense. Don't think that you were shooting when you were 15, 16, 17, 18, and then you go to pro and you're like, I have a right. I was 4 years doing those shots. If you have a right to shoot, coach will tell you. Trust me, coach will tell you. But invite that failure. Don't be afraid that the best player in the team will cross you over. You have the kind of quote-unquote ankle breaker and your career is over. No. Stand up and pick him up again. Full court. Next play. So this would be that it's difficult right now. And it was George Dedas was talking about that if like somebody had a poster or somebody did a crazy move and then like it was recorded, and then you might be kind of quote unquote now failure around the world, but it doesn't mean that you are a failure. Who knows? What if you will achieve your goal? What if you will become one of the greats? And then the same failure will be used in your advantage. They will be saying, oh my God, look at him. He has this kind of failure, but now he's like a top. Everyone should learn from this kid because despite of the failure, he was able to succeed. And question to you, why not you? Why not you to learn? Why not you to succeed? Don't invite the failure. Expect those failures. Do not fear it. And insight number 8 is for parents only. It's important because you need to be a parent. Don't be a coach. You're a parent first. I don't think you're a coach even second or third or fourth. You're a parent. So pressure will it might break your it might break your kids. I mean, who am I to say? My kid is only a few months old, so I cannot say that. But since George Jedas, Tim DiFrancesco, Bodie Mascal, they were all talking about this. And it does, like, pressuring the kid will not raise the standards, but it will raise their anxiety. It will raise their stress level. They will not be performing so well on the court. And yes, like every coach that I talked with, they were talking about this. And don't be the person, don't be the parent who is yelling to the referees, who is yelling to the coaches from the stands, who is, I think in USA, like in Lithuania, I don't think we have a word for that, but that drive back home after the game is usually where lots of coaching happens from the parents, but it should not be this way. You should be maybe asking open questions if you really want to talk about that. Maybe you don't even need to talk about that. Maybe if kid will bring up the game and situation and kind of questions, ideas about like what has happened, stay away from the kind of not judging, but let's say giving your opinions, but ask more questions. Ask open-ended questions to the kid if he wants to talk about that. And how can you know if he wants to talk about that? If he starts talking about that himself or herself. And then you just continue asking questions. Find the way to not to put your opinion, not to put, I mean, if he would ask, hey, but what do you think? What do you think I could have done better? And it's a tricky question. I don't know if sometimes they really want to know what they could have done better. Maybe they're just asking if they are loved, even though they are not performing that well. So it's very important. And I believe after each game, parents, I definitely will do that if my kid will decide to do some sports. But I will say one line. I'll just say, I love watching you play. Because I believe I will really do that. If I get to see my son playing, I really will say, I love watching you play. There is nothing else that we could say. And why I believe it's important? Because we are praising the playing, the effort. We're praising the thing that I want to instill that the person would continue doing. Play the game. It's basketball game, football game, right? As a Steve Kerr said, like he had those kind of, I don't know how to say it, rules for basketball. And one of them, like, just have fun. And Steph Curry took it too hard. When he plays basketball, he really plays. What if that is one of the reasons, and I believe it is, one of the reasons why he is such a great player? He has fun. He has fun in practices. He has fun in games. He makes it fun. And there was, I don't remember exactly, but Steph Curry missed like 2 free throws, I think, or 3 in 2. Kind of, he got fouled 2 times, and I think he missed 2, and then he missed, I think, another one. And before the 4th shot, he was smiling. He has missed already 3 in a row. I believe it was the story. And after the game, the interviewer asked, like, why were you smiling? And he said, I have never missed 4 in a row. But he made it. So, yeah, like, you know, having fun of this, like, failure. And he's just laughing. I'm not saying, like, you're missing and you're laughing, ha, ha, ha. But, like, have fun, you know? So, yes, and to come back to the insight number 9, like, don't yell to the referees, don't yell to the coaches. Yeah, let the coach, let the referee. If your kid would quit sport tomorrow, you would still have your kid because the relationship would still be there. I would not want you kind of lose relationship with the kid if he quits sports or she quits sports. So that would be insight number 9. Be a parent, not a coach. So to summarize, as always, 3 key takeaways. Very simple because we had just 9 key takeaways. So 3 would be, remember the 23 hours. Those are super important. Sleep, food, phone, stress management, relaxation. This is where the players are built. Super important. Then number 2 would be definitely earn your minutes with energy and defense. Talent is only the entry point, but energy will keep you on the floor. Even if you are on the floor, or if you are on the bench, keep that energy high. And last one, probably I'll just go with the parents because those 2 were with the for the players. But for the parents, I would say, remember that one line: I love watching you play. That is it. So thank you very much for listening. If any of this insight was interesting for you and you saw the value of them, definitely share this episode with a player or with a parent or with a coach who needs to hear this. This is the best way to support us. But for now, keep training basketball, body, and mind.